How to Build the City of Tomorrow, Brick and Mortar, a commentary on architecture and ideology today, plus predicting the stylistic trajectory of future movements. Watch this video to find out how. Radical materialism is the ideology of our times, which many people do not even know to be their own, due to lack of belief in anything else. The purely material is elevated to the highest point of conceptualization, or the lowest, most fundamental point, depending on your metaphor. There is a cynical, twisted consequence to this. A mechanical clockwork machine, that's how we see everything, including ourselves. Logical, dehumanizing, and amoral. And the consequence on perception, that is, psychological affect spelled correctly with an A, by the way, in this context. The consequence of perception on motivation and emotion, i.e. perceiving things, seeing things, noticing things, may have a motivating effect, for example food causing salivation or a shift in gastrointestinal activity. And everything has this effect, including buildings. And now that we know about that, we can measure how different buildings affect people's emotions in different ways. All buildings are manifestos, inherent in the detail and focus of their forms. You can find the guiding ideological formulations and a priori presumptions of the designers. Architecture is ideology stitched in steel and etched in stone. A cathedral emanates preternatural fractals which lift the spirit towards a kind of comforting awe by their perceptual affect, while a Soviet tower block commands conformity through its imperious unity of form by the dry, bludgeoning unitariness of its affectation. It has an unnatural purity of function and form which imposes itself brutally upon the psyche. And utility is the word on everyone's lips, every architect, and there seems to be an assumption that beyond material necessity, construction itself is frivolous. All decoration is desecration. All ornation is oppression. Cleanliness is godly, and the details are diabolic. This would seem to me a fundamentally one-dimensional view, typical of radical materialism. I can certainly make a case for a return to beauty. I can describe the economic and sociologic utility of that, and I can expand on the materialist's view from within his or her own framework. Examine any modern global city today, and you can see that architecture is subtly weaponized, whether intended or not, to suppress individuality and culture, and reinforce control and dehumanization. It strips humanity's connection to the organic, sterilizing spaces of any organical affect and reducing them to a reflection, manifest of the system's values. You know, there was this train station in Cambridge where you used to get off the train and you could see the colleges in the distance, these old buildings, and they built, I think, the ugliest buildings I have ever seen. It was like they had been attempting to make ugly buildings. It's like that was the goal. They have these big concrete blocks that are sort of like slightly suspended over the windows. It's very weird, and they are absolutely gargantuan, towering, enormous constructions. And they totally block off the character of the city. And when you arrive at the station, you just feel like you're arriving in a no place, you know, in a liminal space to the nth degree. It's artifice over nature, flatness over depth, surveillance over sanctuary. When a station is stripped of ornament and bleached in glass and concrete, the message is clear. You are meant to dwell, pass through. You are meant to be transitory. Compare this to the Gothic station halls of the 19th century, where travel was staged like a ritual, a journey through arches, stained glass, and iron filigree that even made the commuter feel a part of the story of the culture beyond themselves. A tree does not grow right angles. A river does not move in straight lines. Humanity evolved in the curves of valleys and the softness of forests, and our psychology remains attuned to those forms. When we are placed in sterile, rectangular environments, endless grids of boxes, our animal spirits wither. We become rats in concrete mazes, our behavior shaped by lack of variation, absence of beauty, and denial of natural cues. The science is unambiguous. In rodent experiments, rats raised in sterile cages develop apathy, aggression, self-destructive behaviors. Their brains shrink, their social bonds collapse. Meanwhile, rats in so-called enriched cages with tunnels, toys, textures, visual variety, things to play with, etc. They play, they explore, they thrive. The principle is simple. Environment sculpts psyche. What the rat cage is to the rat, the city is to us. The Viennese artist Friedensreich Hundertwasser understood this better than almost anybody. Hundertwasser despised the tyranny of the straight line, as he called it. To him, straight lines were a symbol of mechanical death, of the bureaucratic will to flatten life into boxes. Hundertwasser designed buildings with curved walls, uneven floors, irregular windows, facades alive with trees protruding from the windows and mosaics covering the walls. His apartments are not just shelters, they are habitats designed to keep the human spirit alive. He wanted architecture to be an enrichment cage for people, stimulating, surprising, and joyful. Bureaucracy is a building style as much as it is a management style. It loves blank facades, neutral palettes, cheap glass and concrete that erases the hand of the craftsman in favor of regularity and compliance. The bureaucratic building is designed to be seen from a spreadsheet and not from street view. The problem is not just ugliness, it is over-abstraction. The living detail is stripped away to service a cold, universal idea that a space is a unit, interchangeable, and without history or soul. The abstraction is not Apollonian, it is anti-Apollonian. It does not shape or form, but rather erases and flattens. The bureaucratic building whispers, "You are nobody, this place could be anywhere, and you could be anyone." As for the defenders of sterile architecture, arguing for utility, let us think that utility is not objective. It's sort of a perception, and perception has affect. A room that inspires joy is more useful than something that doesn't, and a facade that reminds you of your humanity is more useful than one that doesn't. Beauty itself has utility. It reduces violence, fosters dignity, encourages care. People are proud of working in beautiful buildings, studying at beautiful universities, and in fact, companies which have beautiful headquarters tend to have lower labor turnover, so that's a real economic benefit to those companies. Beauty itself has utility, reducing violence, fostering dignity, encouraging care, like we said. To call decoration wasteful is to misunderstand the deeper economy of the psyche. A beautiful public square pays for itself in laughter, in conversation, and frankly in the reduction of despair. So, perception is not passive. The things we see shape our bodies, our moods, and our behaviours. Beauty in architecture creates affectation, not romantic, but civic. Citizens treat their city with respect when the city treats them with dignity. Ugly cities breed contempt. When every surface screams indifference, citizens return the favour, vandalising, littering, and fleeing inward. A beautiful city, by contrast, inspires care and pride. There is even a biological register to this. The colour green has been shown to elevate serotonin levels, producing calm and happiness and contentment. Humans are not indifferent to their environment. We are tuned at the neurochemical level to respond to nature's palette. The bureaucratic building, grey, beige, glass, concrete, suppresses those responses, leaving us dulled. Hundertwasser's riot of colour and greenery was not merely whimsical, it was therapeutic. It was urban intrapharmacology. When Hundertwasser planted trees in his buildings, he was not decorating, he was prescribing. Here is green, here is life, here is serotonin, here is joy. We must stop pretending beauty is frivolous. Beauty is as necessary as food. It feeds the spirit, and when the spirit is starved, societies collapse into violence, apathy, despair, division. Ugly cities are dangerous cities. Ugly stations are alienating stations, and ugly homes are broken homes that just nobody cares about anymore. And if we want future societies to flourish, not just survive, we must build for beauty, not ornament for ornament's sake, but beauty as a principle. Curves that echo rivers, facades that respect history, colours that heal, windows that invite joy. Hundertwasser said, straight lines are the death of the soul. He had a point. The city of tomorrow will either be a labyrinth of sterile glass boxes or some kind of living temple, reborn in dignity by future generations, sick of the current status quo of these concrete obelisks that frankly pollute the eyes as you wander around most modern cities, at least in Britain and much of Europe that I've been to. This choice is ours. Thank you.